Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back for Motility's last webinar of this week. This will be the unit purchase order section. Again, we'll probably have about a 30-minute webinar today, so a little bit quicker than some of the longer ones earlier this week, but should be quick and pretty straightforward as to getting units ordered and created through the PO system. As always, this is Griffin here with Motility. We're going to give first a few minutes here for everyone to get dialed in. So I'm going to go top off my afternoon coffee and get ready to get started here. All right, everybody, thank you for your patience. Looks like we've got everyone joining that's going to be reviewing unit purchase orders with us today, so we'll go ahead and get started. If you all, or for any of you that were in our session earlier this week regarding purchasing units into inventory, I think you may remember there were probably, three or four different ways I showed doing it. Copying from templates, creating the units from scratch, using the make, model, pick list to preload your unit information. There are always multiple ways of doing so. Another one, of course, is vehicle purchase orders. Now, vehicle purchase orders will still use templates and make, model, pick list choices. So when you buy a new Cedar Creek Daydreamer, or if I use an auto example, if I buy a Ford F-150, you can create that unit purchase order, but still copy from an existing unit's template or an existing unit, just so you don't have to recreate everything from scratch. So let's do that. To do so, if I go to Tools, the screen we're looking for is Unit Purchase Orders. So here's how this system works. Just like our other purchase ordering screen, this should look fairly familiar. Every not ordered purchase order is created here. Now, when you create a not ordered purchase order, it will have not yet created the unit record. Only once we mark the purchase order as ordered does it generate a stock number. So you could create 50,000 not ordered POs. It is only once we order it will it create the stock number. And you can still work on that stock number, make adjustments, change record information until it actually does get arrived and fulfilled. And at that point, it's considered that it's arrived at the dealership ready for sale. So again, stock number gets created once it's marked ordered, and then fulfilled usually means that the item has arrived. Now, from a fulfilled status, we still have to post it to accounting, right? Just because the trailer pulled up this morning and we're QCing it, making sure there's no damages coming back from the factory, that doesn't mean we're just going to turn around and post it to accounting. So that is an extra step. So it is 4 button windows to look through, and then, of course, a voided one. And like the other invoice listing screens, you can customize which fields you can see here. In this case, I still have them all turned on. So we're going to create a new purchase order and show what this process looks like. Upon creating a new purchase order, the first step is to identify who you're purchasing from. So if my manufacturer is, let's say, Heartland, and I key in Heartland, there's a parts. I'm going to use a better entity record here just for our example. Let's use Forest River. There we go. So here's my Forest River entity in the system. Okay, so that's who I bought from. The floor plan company, however, is, not Forest River, but it's, let's say, Wells Fargo. So I could type in Wells Fargo. All right, what's my entity reference? The entity reference number, if I don't populate one, will be my next available purchase order number, whichever that is. It'll be PO-whatever. Or I could even make this the reference number to the stock number I'm purchasing. So if my next available stock number is, let's just say PO test unit for right now, just for the sake of our example. Now this GL account here is the credit side of our transaction. This is the GL asking, what am I putting the balance of Wells Fargo's floor plan to? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put in that floor plan account, 3,200. And then from here, we're going to go over to, you can see the status, the location you're receiving it into. We'll leave those alone. You can plug in the dates as to when this is arriving, when we're ordering it, when it was received. All of that will auto-populate as we mark the statuses of ordered, received, etc. Expected delivery is just so you know, hey, they shipped this out and it should be here on the 27th. We'll expect the unit arriving then. So now we want to decide what to create. Well, if I wanted to create a unit from scratch, I can just type in the info. 20, and again, apologize if I'm using a terrible example here. Wildwood, FSX. The vehicle type can be fifth wheel or travel trailer, whatever the type is. There is no fuel in our travel trailer. What's the floor layout? Body style. And customer. If this was being ordered specifically for a certain entity, we could reference that entity here, saying that they are going to be purchasing this once it becomes available. Your purchase price belongs here, so this is the default invoice cost of that unit. You can add additional accessories as you go. So if there are preloaded accessories for this Wildwood, you would find them here. In this case, I don't have any, but otherwise, any factory installed accessories or information you would like to plug in here, if they're part of your accessories codes list, you can go ahead and assign those. But in this case, I'm just going to leave it as is. If I need to, I can upcharge my MSRP. Let's say it's a 15% upcharge. I can type 0.15, and that will bring me up to total MSRP as a 15% markup. Okay, so I'm ready to go ahead and mark this unit as ordered. We could place approvals in this process, so maybe your team members would require an owner or a CFO's approval before marking a unit as on order, and we can do that through that approval screen. But otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and change the status here to ordered and hit save. I cannot. The PO must be approved. So go to my approval screen. Let's see if I have the permissions to approve. I do not. So why don't I go in here and find where that would be. So let me see if I can add myself to the available team members who can approve. And this just kind of gives you an idea of our security system. So let's see, purchase order allowed to mark one as fulfilled. I think I need to be in the approvers list here. So why don't we do this? I'm going to turn off our approval for now. Or let me throw my name in here and see if that works. So in the parts and service section of the system, there is the approvals. And we're going to say for all unit purchase orders who can approve for this, let me plug in my info here and see if that works. I think my employee number is 001X. There we go. All right, let's see if that did the trick. I'm going to get out of the inventory module. You can always navigate in between them by picking program and the desired module. Okay, let's go back into our tools, unit purchase orders. We should find our most recent purchase order up here at the very top, our test unit here. Let's go into approvals. See if it stamps my name in there. Let it load for a second. I didn't get my permission message, so it should work. I may not have completely saved it or not, but, and as you can see, you usually want to have your PO process in place before beginning all of these. I might not be set up to approve and deny. There's probably an internal setting required to get those completed. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn off the approvals in full. That way we don't have to worry about it, but definitely something you'll want to set up ahead of time and, you know, dictate who is going to be doing the approvals, who can approve, and our dollar amount limits for those. So let's get out of there. Let's jump back in. I'm just going to close out and go right back in. Usually anytime you make permissions changes to the system, you don't need to log off. It's just simply a getting out of the module and going right back in. So pretty quick. Okay, we'll go back to our tools, purchase orders. No approvals required, so I should be able to go ahead and mark my unit as ordered. Now what this is telling me is changing the status to ordered requires that you either enter an existing stock number or we have the PO create this unit. Remember where I mentioned, once you mark this as ordered, it's going to create the stock number. So whether I type in a stock number here or I let the system generate the next stock number, it's just going to use my PO number as we referenced. Otherwise, I could change this right now. But typically what we do is we wait to assign the true stock number until it arrives. What if this gets delayed in its delivery time, or there's an accident on its way to the dealership and now we have to scrap and return this unit? There's no sense in pulling a real live stock number here until that does get received. So at this point, that PO is now in our ordered list, so we'd find it here. And if I were to close out of the screen and search up PO number 34, I could find this unit. We could set it so that it's set up to a status of on order. So now my owners can pull a report of every on order unit so they have an idea of what's arriving at the dealership in the next couple of weeks. If you notice, there's our expected delivery date. That's the day it should be arriving. And pretty much I could start filling in detail on this unit, additional financial information. But we're going to wait because the PO can do some of that too. So why don't we go ahead and, you know, pretend like, hey, a couple days have gone by and, oh, hey, that unit just showed up. Okay, so I'll have my inventory team member load up the inventory module. And then from here, we'll go to tools, unit purchase orders like we had before. I've got that unit here pulled up, so I'm going to go to my ordered list, find all of my wildwoods because that's what I've got in front of me. I don't remember the PO name. It's been a few weeks. There it is. So I've got my wildwood in front of me. We want to confirm that my invoice matches what we've placed here on our base pricing and all. And we're going to go ahead and mark this as received, or fulfilled, I should say. Now, when you do that, that's when the system is going to give you the next available stock number. So we can either use the next in the list, or for those of you who maybe use the VIN or the last 8 of the VIN, I can plug that in here. That's my new stock number. We could save. And now it would be presumed we would want to post this PO to accounting. To do that, the final step, once you've validated our purchase price, our floor plan information is correct, we want to post this to accounting. The unit is currently missing its additional cost account, so let's go fix that. So we'll go pull that unit stock number back up. Maybe I don't remember the stock number. Well, remember, you can always search the system for specific units. We will call this a Wildwood. I know my list view wasn't great there. There it is up at the top. And I'll make sure it has the correct GLs prior to posting. Now, us running into that GL message is kind of a pain, right? You don't want to have to say, okay, let's go back and load our unit with the right GLs prior to populating. Well, if you recall, in the make model pick lists, I set up the system to default your GL accounts based on our vehicle type. Okay, so for those of you remembering back to our inventory session earlier this week, if I go to the make model pick list, we could have let the system dictate the GLs, and that's from right here. So when I chose fifth wheel, new, the system assigned all of these GLs, and unfortunately, the additional costs account wasn't populated. So if I had populated that here, this would have automatically come over. We could have gone ahead and posted to accounting. So again, those make model template lines can really help pre-fill some of this information. We're going to do another PO here and copy from a template so you can see how helpful that is as well. But just good to know that that's, you want to make sure those items are in place first to make these purchase order setups easy. We'll go to my fulfilled list. Here's my Forest River unit that we just received. Let's go ahead and hit post now. Oh, I've got the unit locked. So here's another thing that is good to know about this system. Anytime you have a unit record or something open, you're locking that record from other people making changes to it. So typically what you'll want to do is either, pull up a different unit record, or when you first go into inventory, just pull up the PO listing without searching that particular unit up. So just keep that in mind. We don't want to overwrite anybody else's changes, so we always want to lock records if someone's editing them currently. Third time's a charm. We'll go ahead and hit post to accounting. And now I would expect the accounting values of $15,000 on my balance sheet in the inventory account of this unit offset by the floor plan balance in the same amount. If I needed to print any of this purchase order information, I could do so directly from the document. But now we'll find that PO right here. Excuse me, right there. So we can always reference when it was ordered, who ordered it, when it got received, any info on the receiving. And now, as I search up any of my Wildwoods, we can see that this unit is no longer on order. We're going to go ahead and mark it as ready for sale. And now my sales team can proceed with selling this on the deal. Let's do that exact same process again, but I'm going to use the unit templates like we've talked about. And you can see that still using templates will assist you in purchase ordering and receiving of your units. Or if you choose not to do that and you just do the templates, you can still copy directly from them. So how does that process look? Well, same thing. Let's go in. Let's say I've got a Ford F-150 shipment coming in, and I know we've had those in the past. So instead of creating a brand new unit record, I'm going to hit new PO. Let's say we bought this from Ford Motor Company. There we go. Maybe we floor with Wells Fargo still. Reference number we don't have yet because we're waiting to get this posted. My floor plan GL here for Wells Fargo is 3200. Let's say I didn't want to have to remember to plug that in every time, right? That's obnoxious. Set up your entities appropriately. So if I go back to our CRM here, where the Wells Fargo entity is stored, I can likely pre-fill or pre-default their default floor plan account. So how do we do that? Let's search up Wells Fargo. Let's go to their AP info tab. And in the default AP account, they're not an accounts payable vendor. They're actually a floor plan company. Check off floor plan so it's easy to find them by doing searches and plug in that 3200 GL account there. Now, watch what happens when I do a unit purchase order. Let's go ahead and plug in Wells Fargo again here. It auto-populated my floor plan GL for me. Again, preloading information on your entity records, whether it be supplier information, floor plan company information, warranty company information. it will make the processes in the front end of the system much easier. So now I'm ready to go ahead and create my order for this new Ford we're purchasing, but I don't want to type in all of that info from scratch. Well, we can hit the search button here and search up a template. So whether we search directly by the template name or I just come in here and I grab one of our Ford F-150 templates, it looks like this is the newest one in 2015. It says, do you want to copy this stock number? Or I'm sorry, do you want to order this stock number or copy it? If you click yes, it's going to order that stock number, which is not what we want. We want to copy that unit. So we will hit no, and you can see it brought in my year, make, model, my vehicle type, my base cost. Looks like my MSRP markup was a little off. Let's put that to 0.30. There we go. Same process as before. Mark it as ordered. Create the next PO stock number in the list. That'll generate PO number 35. So now it's easy for us at any point in time. If we wanted to see all of our on-order units, well, search everything that is marked on order. You can hit yes. List out all of our units on order. Of course, there's probably going to be a ton of data in here, but look what's up there at the very top, our PO number 35 Ford F-150. We're going to make sure that it is on order, and now we're just awaiting for this unit to arrive. The rest of the process is the exact same. I'm going to get out of inventory. Let's pretend a couple weeks have elapsed. Hey, that Ford just showed up at the dealership. So now what do we want to do? If I go into the unit record through the PO, so it was marked as ordered. There's the Ford. We've got it in front of us today. We're going to go ahead and populate and mark everything fulfilled. What's the next stock number available in the list? Let's just let it auto number for us. 1540 is the one that we wanted. From here, we're pretty much ready to go. We're going to go ahead and mark this as posted to accounting. I could either do that by clicking the button down there or just simply hitting the box. Save it. Now let's go back to our units. We'll search up our Ford. So sold, no. Show me all of our Fords. No, it was an F-150. And I think actually the stock number was 1540, right? So I'll just use that. There it is, 1540. We're going to mark it ready for sale. It is no longer checked off as on order. Let's check the financial tab. There's my accounting entries. So if we wanted to review this on the accounting side, I could highlight one of these items and hit view. And I can show you at this date and time, the 13th, the day that we posted that PO to accounting, I've debited inventory for $9,500 and offset to my Wells Fargo floor plan in the same amount. The unit is in, ready for sale. So whether you do use templates or let the make model pick list dictate some of the data in the software, or you just simply key in the units from scratch by hand, any of those records or any of those procedures will get you to this end result. It's just which is the most efficient or the quickest for your dealership to operate. If you were asking me my personal preference, I think keeping a make model pick list updated and not even just specifying by make and model. You can just use the vehicle types here to determine when we buy a new fifth wheel, these are the GL accounts, these are the markups we use. And then when we buy a used fifth wheel, there are slightly different GLs and slightly different markups being applied. The reason I recommend this over the templates is the template records you need to manage and update year over year as pricing changes. But the biggest advantage of using a template over that make model pick list is when you copy from a template, it copies the images over. Now, some dealerships request that feature because they've taken great stock photos for their unit, and it usually only comes in one exterior color, so they can reuse those photos. But again, if that is not a priority to you and you don't mind taking either new photos per each unit or you've got an image database that you can easily access, I think templates require a little more of your input and attendance, year over year, making sure the prices are up to date, versus if you just get the make model pick list up to date and say, pricing on fifth wheels has gone up this year. So instead of, worrying about the exact purchase price being correct on our templates, let's just make sure we're setting the appropriate markups on our selling price to make sure that we're covering that upcharge on those new units. So The more you see this, the more familiar these processes will be, and you'll be able to better determine, which method you would use. But again, any of those methods, copying from templates, purchase orders, the make, model, pick list, they are all better options than hitting add and hand keying in every unit record from scratch, because over time, that's just going to be spending a lot more of your time than you really need to be in this inventory module. So that is unit purchase orders from start to finish. If there's any questions, I'll leave the next few minutes here available to you if you do have any questions. The main item that comes up is folks who order multiple units or from the same manufacturer at once. So in that Ford example I gave you earlier, what if we were buying 5 Ford F-150s? Well, unfortunately, the purchase orders are one stock number per document, so you would have to create 5 separate purchase orders. Hearing that, many bus dealers and dealers who buy in bulk like that shy away from using that purchasing ordering product just simply because it doesn't make sense for them, because all of those documents are on all those units are on one invoice. There's no sense for them to create 5 or 6 different POs. I would recommend to you, if you purchase in bulk like that and you purchase many units at one time, there's always the option to hit File, Multi-Unit Copy, and the system will ask you which record you're copying from. So let's say in our example, I bought a bunch of Coachman Catalina RVs. Well, I can go ahead and create each of those stock numbers by populating my VIN and possibly my exterior color. So let's say I want to create 4 of these. I can auto-assign the stock number, so it will use my next 4 on the list. As you can see, we already built 1540, and I had started the record of 1541, so the system is going to jump to 1542, which is the next available stock number, and then we can go ahead and create each of these units one by one. So now, let's search our database for any unsold Coachman Catalina. Hit list. I think I had it backwards. I think it was, or maybe cargo mate. So why don't we do this? Why don't I just search? Sometimes I get myself mixed up with, which field I'm using. I'm just going to search for everything and sort by stock number. I know they should be those most recent ones, so 1542. Sorry, my screen's taking a second to update. You know what? Let's do this. Search all records listed out, and now we'll sort by our stock number. And should be popping up here. Coachman Catalina. So since we copied from a sold record, it's using this old sold status, you would just go into each of these new records as you've added them. And now this Coachman Catalina, assuming we go in here and make some purchase entries for it, will be available to go ahead and sell. I have a question that came in from Greta here asking, can there be an auto-populate for the model number to be the last 8 digits of the VIN? Unfortunately, the auto-assign is based off of a numerical sequence of stock numbers. The system will not auto-generate or base your stock number off of whatever you're plugging into the VIN here. So my recommendation being, when you add a new unit, punch that VIN into here, and then I would just copy and paste it into the stock number field so you don't have to retype it in a second time. I have had that request before a couple times. And anytime I've reached out, they're keeping it as a stock number auto assign only, unfortunately. Any other questions related to purchase ordering of units, or just any general inventory questions before we close down for the week? All right, everyone. I don't see anything else popping up here. But as always, we are going to resume this exact schedule next week. So the same times that you were available for this week's webinars, it will be the same exact order. So you'll have CRM, our deal desking and inventory items earlier on in the week. The second half of second half of the week, beginning with parts and service, and then of course Thursday and Friday we'll cover accounting concepts and just general usage. Now, as I do more webinars, if I see names that are familiar, I would love to take the discussions a bit deeper and more advanced, so we don't have to just look at the fields themselves. We can get into some more granular discussion. So definitely take any questions that you've had over the last couple of days. If something hasn't made sense, or maybe your dealership has specific procedures that we need to try to link up with, definitely pose those in next week's webinars, and I can try to take a more personalized approach to how I show the system. But hopefully these have been educational and helpful this week. Remember, these will run through December, end of December. We probably will be running them in January as well. So if team members were unavailable to reach out, this week, or unavailable to get scheduled for these, let them know, hey, every successive week from now until the end of the year, there will be more webinars. So for those people who aren't taking all their holiday time at the end of the year, we will be here training each day, usually about 2 to 3 hours. So I'll let you all go. I appreciate the names that I've seen throughout the week. Hey, thanks for sticking with each of the sessions. Again, your feedback is more than welcome. If there's anything I can do to change or, correct my training procedures that will make this a little easier, I've already gotten some good feedback so far onto, how we've been structuring these. So again, thank you all for your time. Thank you for your patience. And I hope you have a great rest of your afternoon and weekend. And we look forward to seeing you next week on Monday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern.